everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Lots About Something podcast. This is the podcast where we, the Lots, always talk about something. Hopefully it's going to be something to encourage you, help you on your drive, your walk, your run, whatever you've got going on today. Thanks for stopping by. Man, I really do appreciate it. Whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, maybe you're even watching over on Spotify. Thanks for joining us. I am one half of your hosting duo. My name is Chris, and I'm, of course, joined by my lovely bride, Christy. How are you doing today, Christy?
Doing good.
Doing good. Christy, I did want to just start off the podcast with this. I mentioned this last week that your fans, the Christy fans, we need to come up with a name for them because they exist, and they came out in full force this week after me.
For real?
They came out in full force after me because they said that because I called you a witch, everywhere I went, every person, not everywhere I went, but every person I talked to about the podcast this week talked about that. They talked about me calling you a witch, and I had to defend myself because I didn't feel like I called you a witch, but they came after me. The Christyites were out in full force this week.
I guarantee they could feel the animosity, the jokester part of you coming out trying to attack me.
Yeah.
And they sensed it, and I'm so proud of them.
They did.
They stood up for me.
And just for clarity's sake, we did have to have a follow-up conversation.
It wasn't long. It wasn't lengthy.
Nope.
It was just a couple words.
It was to the point.
It was a couple words.
And then you punched me in the nose.
I didn't punch you in the nose.
Oh, okay.
I do tell you that all the time. If you don't leave me alone, I'll hit you in the nose.
You do say that. You do say that a lot. But yeah, I wanted to just mention that I learned a lesson this week that I don't know if anybody ever calls you to defend me, but people call me and specifically stop me to defend you. So
who all did it? Who all called you?
I had multiple people, even like people that I would think would be on my side, like Dusky and Ganker.
Oh, they were on my side too?
Both of them were like, I bet you got it for what you said. Like, they didn't come out like, they weren't like super defensive. Mm-hmm. But I will say this. I don't even know if I told you this. Speaking of it, Mike, who goes to church with us, and him and his wife Valerie, he called me this week, not about the podcast, but we were talking about something else, but he mentioned it in the conversation that he actually makes the same joke with his wife Valerie that I make with you about the spells and the potions and all that kind of stuff. So
why?
Well, because it's like when you do.
Does she diffuse?
Is that what you call it?
We diffuse.
We diffuse?
We're diffusers out there.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it's called.
Y'all need t-shirts that says, I diffuse.
Essential oils.
Yeah, that's what you need is a t-shirt. Anyway, so
we're not going down this rabbit hole.
No, I don't want to get into it again because I got a lot of strongly worded comments to me this week, but
I'm just glad someone has my back.
Yeah, they're out there anyway. But the one person that was in line with me was Mr. Mike, and evidently, I guess it's very similar. Valerie doesn't do it a whole lot. She doesn't use essential oils anymore as much, similar to you, but she used to, and people would call her, and she'd put concoctions together.
Okay.
Whole thing. Y'all must have been in like the same tribe together. I don't know. Is that what they call that, tribe?
I don't think so.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Indians,
That's the Indians. Okay. Anyway, I don't know. So, nonetheless, you were well defended this week, so you should know that.
I'm glad to hear that. We started our Instagram page.
Yes.
And
yes,
I was
we did.
so surprised about how many views the old man shoes video
I posted
attention. I was quite surprised about it.
I posted I did pretty good this. I was a little concerned. I was a little hesitant not to start the page, but like I don't do a good job of posting on like my personal one. I don't do a good job of posting on my like my video game one. And so I was like, man, I don't know if I'll post. I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with like posting, because they say you should post 1 to 3 times a day.
Oh.
Is what the general rule of thumb is. Some people say 1 time a day is enough. Some people say like 3 times a day.
The same thing?
Well, different content, like different, not
the
like
same thing.
not the same video, but like you should post something 3 times a day.
Okay.
Is what some people say.
Did you do that this week?
I didn't do that. I did 1 time, I think, every day.
I'll just say that one video, it sparked some interest.
Yeah. The old man, the one I talked about getting old man shoes, it got a lot of views, got a lot of likes on it. Well, I say a relative. I mean, it wasn't like a viral video, but it was the one that got the most traction.
It was exciting for us. So
yeah, so it was good. So we talked about that last week. We did get our Lots About Something Instagram page up, the Lots About Something podcast Instagram page, so you can go follow that. And I'll tell you what I like about it is we'll be able to post like pictures. Like I put the picture of the cat that we talked about last week, I put it up, and so that's a place where people can find us and talk to us. So I like that.
I don't know what else I was going to say, but
Oh, okay. Did I interrupt?
I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we, since you don't remember what that is, and I don't really have anything else to say here, why don't we just call it a day? Just wrap it up. No, I'm just kidding. Why don't we go into our first segment, which is a segment we do every single week called What's New. And so if you are a new listener, we do this. It's just the segment that we do, talk about what has been going on in our world since the last time we did the podcast. So it's about a week. So Christy, what's new? What's been going on with you?
So we binge watched a new Netflix series.
We did. We watched the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle.
Episodes 2 through 8 we watched yesterday.
Yes.
The first episode we watched Friday night with Emma.
Yes, there were 8 episodes total, and we watched 7 of them yesterday.
And it was the Addams Family series Wednesday.
Yeah, what'd you think about that?
So I thought it was weird, funny, scary, all at the same time.
That's pretty accurate. I think I don't know that it was ever, I don't do scary things. So I don't know that I would say that it was scary, because if it was scary, I would have not watched it.
I mean, the big-eyed monster was a little scary.
There were some spooky parts to it.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It would stop at an end of the episode, and you'd want to go right into the next episode. And so we watched it with Emma from 2 or 3 yesterday afternoon till
10 o'clock
last night. And I would recommend it if you want to watch something that's pretty good.
There was
I wouldn't let little tiny kids watch it.
No, I wouldn't let little tiny kids watch it.
There's a big odds. Well, it's 14 and up.
Good news is it didn't keep me awake last night, terrified. So that was
the only
good thing.
Criticism I'd have about it is it did say some bad words.
And it was like random, unneeded bad words. It was like they were like, you know what, we hadn't said a bad word, so let's throw a bad word in here. Right,
kind of.
But it wasn't necessary.
Right. So if you're parents that don't like bad words, then I would definitely say no, don't let your kids watch it.
It is weird. There is an element of like sorcery and that kind of stuff.
But I mean, I think if you've watched any of the Addams Family, there's a little bit of weirdness going on way back in the day. So.
And I don't know. I know about the Addams Family, but in honesty, I've never really gotten into watching a bunch of that stuff.
But that's something that's new with us as we watch that with Emma. So
yeah. So that was pretty good. I was trying to think what else is if I've got anything new this week. I told you that I retired from exercise last week. I did walk some this week. I walked 4 days, 3 days,
probably just 3.
Let's just say 4.
Say 4 to be
let's just say 4. We'll round up and say that I walked for 4 days this week.
Okay, that's good enough.
Okay, so I wore my Brooks, my old man shoes. Not an ad. They don't sponsor this podcast
yet.
They can if they want to. But
Bring on the Brooks.
Yep. This portion of the podcast is sponsored by nobody. So sponsored by us. We are sponsoring our own podcast.
Duncan could sponsor us.
Yeah. So, so I did that. So I guess I came out of retirement essentially from exercising. I kind of hate that.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
I walked my usual 5 days. I didn't walk yesterday.
Yeah.
But so that's still going on.
Okay.
I did have an experience this week.
You had an experience?
And I thought I'd talk about it today.
Oh, okay. All right.
I have a grievance with the car line.
Hold on. You have wait.
I have a grievance.
Are you airing a grievance?
I don't know if it's a grievance or if it's just an aggravation. I don't know the difference.
I just want you to know I'm glad that the grievance is not with me because I've taken enough heat this week.
Yeah, this ain't got nothing to do with you.
So, all right, official. We're airing a grievance. We need a button that when we get ready to air a grievance is like, we're airing a grievance.
And when it happened to me, I told myself, this is going to make good podcast material right here.
All right.
Because we have a hard time thinking of it sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Give it to us. What is your grievance?
I got to go through my day, okay?
Okay.
So you take Emma to school.
I do.
And I pick Emma up.
Yes.
And, I get in the car line every day. It's not my first time rodeo at the car line.
I mean, essentially, how many years have we spent in car lines dropping off and picking up at this point?
18 years with Lily.
Well, we didn't do it the whole 18 years.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, 18, 17, 16, 14. 13 years with Lily because she went to kindergarten.
Yeah, so 13 years we've spent in the car lines.
Emma's in 8th grade now, so, 8 years at least.
Okay, so you're talking specifically, this is a middle school car line.
Well, let's just talk about, this year. I've got an 8th grader, so...
Okay.
You got parents that have at least been doing this 8 years.
Okay.
7 or 8 years. Because it's 7th grade and 8th grade.
6th grade. Oh, yeah, 7th and 8th grade.
So this shouldn't be new to them. They should understand car line. Okay?
Yeah, so this isn't a new
This should not be new. It's going on the second semester of school. Y'all should have car line down by now, yeah. I would think. Or
that makes sense. I think that is a valid assessment.
Or you shouldn't be in the car line if you don't understand the car line. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
So you get in the normal people get in the car line and you don't block the parking lot for people that need to get out and you don't block the road so people can go across the road. I will say
that our car line is this car line to get into the school in the afternoon is unique because the inside of the school there's not a lot. So it automatically spills out. Mm-hmm. So that I would say that is a unique.
But you got one way in, you go around, and you got one way out. It's self-explanatory.
Okay.
And when you get to a certain spot, you have to stop and let cars go out. You can't block intersections, but we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
So I got to this little specific area where you let the parking lot out. Cars stayed on the road. I wasn't in the road for cars to be blocked, and I wasn't in the parking lot. So I'm sitting in a spot. All of a sudden, this truck in front of me, he's sitting there in front of me. Well, cars moved up, which is normal. Cars move up. They inch up when they can.
All right.
Well, he must have been on his phone. He didn't pay attention to what he was doing. Okay. So there was a little gap that people could get into if needed, but you're not supposed to do that. And we'll talk about that in a minute. All of a sudden...
Now, there's a gap between you and the car?
No.
In front of you? Or
there's a gap in front of him.
Okay, in front of him.
He's in front of me.
So he's not moved up.
So, all of a sudden. And now there's cars behind me on the main road. A good 7 or 8 cars waiting to get in the school.
Okay.
Well, all of a sudden, I'm just sitting there minding my business, and I look, and there's a car turning into the school, whipped in front of this truck, and just parked.
Okay.
You're not supposed to do that. Don't they see all these other cars behind me?
So he passed all the other cars.
Oh, it was a she. It wasn't a he.
Okay, so she passed all the other cars and got in front of the truck that's in front of you.
Then another car whipped right on in, got in front of that car. Then another car.
So there's a big space.
Well, you can't. There's a crosswalk. You're not supposed to park in it.
Okay.
This car parked in the crosswalk, gets out of the car, opens up her trunk with her flashers on, starts taking junk out of her trunk,
hose.
in a box and taking it wherever to the school. School gets out at 3:10.
Okay.
This is happening at 3:08.
I can tell that you're really worked up about this.
Well, I'm in line like I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I got there at the right time.
Okay.
Then these three people think that they can whip their cars in there and cut everybody just because they can. I don't think it's right. That's not the end of it.
Okay. There's more?
Then another car pulls up right beside me.
Where are these cars going? There's no space at this point.
This person can't go anywhere. She looked at me and she was like, "You going right there? Like you going?" I was like, "Yes, I'm going right there because I'm in the car line. What are you doing?"
So she's blocking. If I
blocking
understand this
the
right,
exit.
she's facing where the cars are coming out.
She's gonna be head on.
So
head
she's
on.
blocking that way.
Nobody can get out, and I wasn't letting her in.
Okay.
And so she stopped because nobody could get out. And I whipped my little car right on around past her, and she got behind me, cut the car off behind me, and got behind me. And I shook my head, thinking, people don't know how to do the car line. And so that brings me to this.
Okay.
I thought I'd do an article
Hold the phone.
on car line etiquette.
Hold on. You have an article?
I knew somebody would have written an article about car line rules.
Okay.
And we have car line rules today.
All right. I am normally the one that does the articles,
And I'm
but
gonna
you have your own article.
See if I agree with what they think.
All right. Well, I am beyond excited that you brought an article.
So I'll ask, but I'm probably going to give my input.
Okay, so you're gonna ask the questions, and I'm gonna give my opinion. All right.
Okay,
that's the way this normally works.
All right,
okay.
let's look at number one.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So this is your article right here.
You'll have to tell them where it's at because I can't.
Okay. So this is. You don't. All right. So this is. It looks like a blog site.
Making time for mommy.
Making time for mommy.
Mm-hmm.
And the title of this is just School Car Line Etiquette 101. So the basics.
I knew. I could have written this. But
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So
Number one.
Number one.
Don't cut in line, people.
All right. Okay.
You got anything to say about that?
I mean, it seems right. I have done the car line. Obviously, I do in my experience, I have primarily done the morning drop off. I have some grievances in the morning drop off.
That's for another time.
Okay. Obviously, this isn't the time for that. But this makes sense. Don't cut in line. That seems right. Mm-hmm. I feel like you have more to say about this.
No, I mean, it's just true.
Okay.
Some people get in the car line at 1:30 or 2:30 for a 3:10 car ride. I mean, they are dedicated parents getting there early.
Yeah.
We don't need those last minute parents busting on in there and breaking up the car line because they're running late. You just get in the back of the line and wait.
Just got to wait.
Yeah, I agree. Don't cut in line.
Now, I will say this.
I'm sorry, I'm a little hyped
You
up
are
about it.
very.
I knew I was gonna get hyped up about it.
You are very amped up about this. I'll save that. I'll give that. I'll save that part.
Number two.
Okay.
Pull forward.
Okay.
Put your phone down. Some people on their phones taking naps. Pull forward to let other cars get not cut in
Seems
front
right.
of you. Just pull forward and keep it going.
That seems right.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Next one.
Don't park in line and then get out of your vehicle.
I have experienced this. I've never personally done this, but I have experienced somebody doing this before. It is frustrating.
Well, especially if you pulled up too close to them and then you can't back up.
And then everybody passes you and you can't go around.
Then you can't back up and you can't go forward or anything. You're just stuck behind the idiot that's gotten out of the car and gone into school.
Do you remember? I can't remember. It had to be Lily. It had to be when Lily was in school, and I don't remember exactly what happened. But there was a car that was doing something I didn't like. Maybe they were getting. I can't remember if they were getting out, and I yelled at them, and you were like, "Don't yell at them."
I don't know. You yell at a bunch of cars. So, all right, next one.
Okay, all right.
Get off your phone and pay attention.
Okay. So this seems like this is directed to the truck, the guy in the truck.
Well, I don't know. I can't say a whole lot because he lives down the road. I don't think that he watches our podcast, but
It's unlikely. I don't think he's part of the
either
8
on his
listeners
phone or he's
that we
napping
have.
because he didn't move up the whole time. He just let people go around him. So
I will say this, though. All right. In his defense, I don't know this guy. I know that Emma's friends with his kids. I don't know him. But in his defense, I will say that the times that I have gone to pick up kids in the car line, it is a really good time for a nap.
oh yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, you like to get there at 2:20, 2:30.
I like to be at the very front of the line.
Right.
And so if that means I have to sit there for an hour, I'll do that.
Now, I'm a little different. I like to get there. School's out at 3:10. I try to get there 2:50, 2:55.
So that is what I was going to say, is I wonder if you had gotten there earlier. I know that you like to get there later and sit in the line later. I like to get there earlier and sit in the line longer. I wonder if you gotten there earlier, if you had avoided all of this grievance.
I will say, Friday, so this happened Thursday. Friday, or it happened Wednesday. Thursday, I made sure I left a few minutes early to get ahead of the crosswalk because I wasn't dealing with that mess again. That little area right there, I said,
Yeah.
I'm going on and getting there earlier. So I did. Anyway. Next one.
No, that's it. That's
Oh,
all
that's
for
it?
that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, then you got the school drop-off, but you said we couldn't talk about that.
Okay. No. So that was my aggravation
Oh, here
for
would
the
be
week.
here is another one. Get your kid and go.
Yeah, get your kid and just go. There's no time to talk to the teacher out there. If you got to talk to the teacher, call up there and leave an email or whatever and, talk to them. Just let them get in and go.
Yeah.
No reason to wait. This isn't on there, but another aggravation.
Okay. Same subject,
When
same
you
thing.
get up to pick your kids up,
Yeah.
go all the way up to the front and make your kid walk to get into the car. We have some people that act like their kids can't walk to the car, so they stop right in front of them and block the traffic,
Yeah.
just so their little kid can get in the car and not have to walk to the front of the line.
Yeah.
I know.
You don't like that?
I'm extremely heated over the subject. I feel better now that I've aired it out.
You feel like you've aired this grievance properly?
I feel like there may be some parents out there that understand. Now, I may be talking to some parents out there, and they're probably like, ooh, Christy's stepping on my toes, but I don't know.
Listen, if you're one of the 8 listeners and Christy has made you mad, I would love for y'all to rally against her like you've rallied for her this week. I would...
Or agree with me and let me
Okay.
know, too.
That's probably
Lots
what's
About
gonna
Something
happen.
podcast on Instagram and let your girl know. Yeah.
do you feel better? I mean, you feel like you were able to get that off of your chest?
Yeah, I do. It was an aggravation I've been holding in, and I wanted to talk about it today.
All right. That's good. You actually have you didn't really want to talk about it before now because you wanted to let out all of the frustration on the podcast.
I did. I didn't want to give anything away. I just wanted it to be real, coming straight out of the mouth. Just whatever came out.
Yeah, it was out there.
I know. I've had coffee. I feel like a little amped up today. I got me a large duck, and I maybe should have stuck to the medium.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, anything else? Anything else anything else for what's new?
I don't think so.
Now that you've aired your grievances, I am glad that your grievance was not against me.
Not everything's against you.
It's valid. I do a lot of good stuff. Mm-hmm. You don't nothing.
You do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Christyites, that y'all heard that. I do a lot of good stuff. Just make sure. All right. I've got a couple things I wanted to bring up. I gather tidbits of information. We live in a world where we have knowledge overload, and I gather tidbits of information throughout my week, and that happens in various sources. Sometimes it's through, like at night before I go to sleep, I oftentimes will read like Google News, which is always interesting. And sometimes it's like things that you have interest in, but sometimes it's very random. I'll gather things from like the radio. I'll say, Siri, hey Siri, what's in the news today? And it'll give news updates and those kind of things. I'll read something on like social media. So throughout a week, I tend to gather some random news, and I gathered 3 pieces of random news that I wanted to just get your opinion on. Okay. All right. So the first one is this, and honestly, this is probably the most shocking to me. I'm going to call this part most shocking news. All right. So there is I think, at least in my opinion, I may be wrong, but there is a very popular drink that has just been retired this week. And it's Sierra Mist. Are you familiar with Sierra Mist?
It's like Sprite.
Yes. Sierra Mist is like so Coca-Cola Company owns Sprite, and the Pepsi Company owns Sierra Mist.
Oh, 7-Up.
Do they own 7-Up too?
Somebody owns 7-Up.
I don't know who owns. I think 7-Up is its own private.
Sprite and 7-Up are the same thing. Similar tasting.
All right. So fun fact, you bought some 7-Up the other day. I don't know if it was on accident or not.
Yeah, they were out of Sprite Zero.
It was great.
Oh, yeah?
I really, really liked it.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, it was really good.
And some
yeah, it was in
7-Up.
But here's the deal. So here is, let me see if this is this is the article I want.
Goodbye, Sierra Mist.
Okay, so here it is. So essentially, Pepsi has retired Sierra Mist, and starting this past week, or maybe this upcoming week, I can't remember, they're launching a brand new lemon lime drink called Starry. Starry. So they've retired Sierra Mist and they've relaunched a new lemon lime drink called Starry. And there's a picture of it right there. We'll post it on our Lots About Something podcast Instagram page. What do you think about this? Like, how different do you feel like Sierra Mist and Starry is going to be?
Well, what did Sierra do to Pepsi Company to get rid of Sierra just to name it Starry?
Okay, so I think if I remember correctly, Sierra Mist was out about 24 years, but I didn't know this until I was looking up this article. Evidently, in 2016, they retired Sierra Mist, and they came out with Pepsi did, and they came out with another lemon lime drink called the Mist Twist. Do you remember this at all? Mm-mm. I don't remember it at all. I don't remember this at all, but they came out with it called the Mist Twist. It only lasted for 2 years, and then they brought back Sierra Mist.
I wonder why they keep changing it.
Well, I think the whole thing is because essentially, here it is. Okay, so Sprite captured 7% of the $82 billion soda market. Mm-hmm. And Sierra Mist only has 0.1%. So it's about sales. So Sprite has 7%.
Look what they're doing there. Look.
Sierra Mist has less than 1/10 of 1%.
So if you scroll up so I can see it. You see what they're doing there? You see how Coca-Cola has Sprite? And it's just one word? They're having a Starry.
All right.
With one word.
What is your opinion about the name Starry? Like, what are your thoughts on that? That seems like a terrible name. It's like they couldn't think of anything better to come up with.
I wonder if it's going to taste exactly the same, just a new name.
That's a great question.
You know?
I'm going to try it this week.
It's almost like they're saying sorry, but they're saying Starry.
I'm going to go on a mission this week to find Starry. I'm going to try it and report back on what it tastes like.
You're trying something
That's
new?
my something new for this year. Or for this week.
For this month, yeah.
Yeah, for this week.
Okay.
So Starry,
we're gonna post that picture on the page.
Yeah, we'll post a picture of the new Starry.
What's the difference with the green and the black lids?
Well, it looks like the black lid is zero sugar. Like
That's
Like,
what we would drink. Okay.
Yeah, Coke Zero or
Okay.
Pepsi Zero, whatever.
Okay.
So that looks like that's what that is.
I bet. Can we find it in stores now?
We'll have to Google that. I don't know. They evidently it's supposed to start releasing this
We ought to
week.
do have
It's
cups.
a caffeine free
Oh.
drink. So
We ought to do like a Sprite cup, a 7-Up cup, and a
That would
Starry
be
cup,
fun.
and see if you or I can choose which is which.
we ought to do that.
We'd have to make sure we can't see it when we look on the screen.
That would be fun. We'll have to do that. It says it's on shelves now, so you could, if you wanted to go out and buy Starry, you could do that right now.
Okay.
All right.
I ain't going out right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If I go to the store this week, I'll look.
All right. So that was what I call most shocking news. Okay.
Okay.
I've got another piece of information that I gathered this week that I will say it's the saddest news that I heard this week. The United States lost a living legend this week.
They did.
A living legend. You seem to be agreeing with that.
Elvis Presley's daughter.
Yes. That is true.
Huh?
Lisa Marie Presley did pass away this
I
week.
thought that's who you were talking about.
That's not who I was talking about. I don't know that Lisa Marie Presley would be her. Now, her dad was definitely a legend, but I don't, and he was a living legend when he was alive, but I don't know that Lisa Marie was a living legend. Did you know that she dated the guy from, what's the show we've been watching? Nick Cage. Did you know that she dated Nicolas Cage?
I don't know.
I remember that when she got married to Michael Jackson. I do remember that.
Yeah?
Do you remember that? That was a strange thing. Didn't they have kids together? No, he had kids with that nurse. It was a nurse lady or somebody like that. Anyway.
Oh, well, I thought that's who we were talking about.
No. It wasn't. That's not who it was. But the United States oldest living person, Bessie Hendricks, died at 115 years old this week.
Oh. Okay.
115, and she died in an Iowa nursing home.
That struck you as sad?
Well, it is sad. I mean, think about it. You've lived all your life, and now you are the U.S. living, or longest living, oldest person in the United States, and then you pass away, and you give up the title. You know what else is really strange? The world's oldest living person, so not just the United States, but the world's oldest living person died in like early or middle of December, and they were 135 years old.
That's a long time.
Can you imagine? Think about all the stuff that Bessie saw in her lifetime. Like literally saw like the television. Would she have seen that? Like created the television, and then black and white to color to the internet. Think about that. She saw all of those things happen, things that we just see as normal. She saw all of those things like transpire and take place. That's actually really interesting.
You just said it was sad.
It is sad, but it's also really interesting. Okay. But Christy, let's see, where's it at? I don't want to lose it. Oh, here it is. Okay, but when one hero falls, another one must rise. And so now the United States has a new oldest living person.
Okay.
And it is, here it is. Edie Cesarelli, who lives in California, and she is set to turn 115 years old on February the 5th.
But the other lady was 135?
No, 115.
Oh, she was 115 too?
Yeah, she died at 115.
Oh, okay.
Edie is set to turn 115 on February the 5th.
Well, come on, Edie. You can do that.
Do
it.
you think? All right, let me ask this. I don't think that I don't know exactly what the record is. I'd have to go back and look. But do you think there's a part of Edie that wants to outdo Bessie? Like, do you think Edie's like, if I could just get to 116, like I would be better than Bessie? Like, I don't know what the record is.
I mean, do you think that Edie is even thinking about beating the record?
I want to know if Edie knows that now she's the oldest living person in the United States.
She's got that little article written about her, so.
And what, I don't know. All right. Another part of this information that I don't know is the person that's right after Edie. Like, are they secretly hoping that something happens to Edie and then they could be the world's oldest living person? Or do you feel like they're like cheering each other on? Like, go Edie, go. Or do you feel like it's like a Mean Girls Club?
I don't think it's Mean Girls Club. They may not even know.
Yeah.
They may not even know that they're in the record for winning.
Okay.
But that is a long time, 115.
115 years. Just think about that. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Really amazing. So, so sad for Bessie's family, but go Edie, go.
Mm-hmm.
Team Edie. Then we should get some shirts made?
No.
Okay. All right. So that's sad news. I have one more piece of information. Just news wise. I'm just going to call this interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Stay with me. There are two men that are minor league baseball pitchers. Okay. Now, one of them, they don't play for the same team. One of them plays for the Long Island Ducks, and one of them plays for the Las Vegas Aviators. All right. But they're both minor league baseball players. They're both pitchers. Mm-hmm. And they both have the same name, identical. Their name, both of them, is Brady Feigl or Feigl, Feigl. So Brady Feigl, which is not a common name. It's not like Brad Smith or, it's not like I would say it's not, that last name is not a normal name, but Brady Feigl, they're not the same age though. One is 32, one is 27. And here's the kicker, okay? They look identical to each other. So that's one of the Bradys. That's the other Brady. They look identical to each other. Do they not?
Yeah, they look similar. Like,
we'll post this on the Instagram, but like, they look almost identical. You can definitely tell they're not the same person, I think. But if you didn't know,
you would think it was the same person.
They have the same name. They both are pitchers. And check this out. Here's how they found out about each other. This is probably the craziest part of this whole story. I think it was the one Brady had to have a surgery, like an elbow surgery. And he went in, had the surgery done. Well, it came up that the other Brady had to have the same surgery done on his elbow. And so they called the doctor, same doctor that did the first surgery, to schedule the surgery. And they said, we've already done that for him. And they said, no, you haven't. They said, yes, we have. We did it a few months ago. And they said, no, you haven't. And they said, yes, we did. And that's how they found out, essentially, that each other existed. And so there was so much similarity to them, they actually went and took a DNA test to see if there were any type of, like, they were related or if there's any kind of family ties and connection. None whatsoever. Just a fluke, rare instance that these same men have the same name, play the same sport at the same level, the same position and had to have the same surgery on the same body part by the same doctor. How crazy is that?
And they look alike.
And they look almost, I didn't look, the glasses that they're wearing in this picture is all, I mean, you really can't tell the difference. How crazy is that?
Well, they always say you have a lookalike out there.
I do say that.
He's an extreme lookalike with the same name, so that's extremely weird.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, there's a couple more pictures of them.
yeah, like if you were posting pictures and they didn't have their uniforms on, you would think it was the same person.
Yeah. It looks like this one is a little bit thinner
Yeah.
than the other one, but still, I mean, they look very similar. How strange is that?
That's interesting.
Can you imagine just like there being another, obviously, I guess for you have a twin. Mm-hmm. You have a twin, and so that doesn't necessarily, no, it doesn't freak you out. But let's just say it wasn't your twin, and there was another, like a third version of you somewhere. They looked alike. You had the same exact name. Mm-hmm. You both did the same thing. You had the same number of kids. I mean, how weird, like how weird is that?
Yeah.
Do you think you would want to be friends with that person? Or do you think you'd be just creeped out by them?
I'd probably want to be a friend.
Yeah.
Especially if they acted like me. We'd get along just fine.
Okay. All right. That is something I would like to know is if their personalities are similar. Like,
or if they're like hanging out now that they know that they're similar, you know? They're best buddies now, or hanging out, or meeting up, or
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Okay.
So, well, Christy, you got a wow for us today?
I do.
All right. Why don't you give it to us?
Last week, was it last week when I said I didn't like the neighbor?
You did say that you didn't like the neighbor last week.
I thought I should work on that a little bit.
Okay.
And then
you're going to go talk to him?
No.
Okay. Mm-mm. All right. You want to bake something and take it over to him?
I probably should be nicer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought, and then with the car line incident, this is just needing.
You got a lot of rage.
I don't have rage.
You got upset at me last week.
Just frustration, I guess.
Okay. All right.
It's in Proverbs 11, verse 17.
I like the book of Proverbs.
It says, "When you're kind to others, you help yourself, but when you're cruel to others, you hurt yourself." So it's just telling me I need to be kind to others and not be mean, because it could hurt us or help us. So
that's good.
I thought that may help us for the week.
You know, I read something this week in my devotion time that I thought it was really interesting, and it kind of goes along with that of loving your neighbor. I don't remember the exact verse, but I could pretty much tell you it's in 1 Thessalonians. I want to say it's chapter 2, maybe chapter 3, but essentially what Paul wrote was that he gave himself to the gospel and that he gave himself to the people. So he gave himself to two things. He gave himself to the gospel, to the message, sharing the message of Jesus to other people, but then he also gave himself to people, to helping people, to loving people, being kind to people. And I thought that was interesting, especially in line with what you just said, that you really have to do both. Like, especially in ministry, when you do ministry, like this, what we do, we're pastors, it requires both. You can't just do ministry and not care about people. You can't just care about, you can't just do the work of the Lord and not care about people. You can't just care about people and not do the work of the Lord. You really have to do both. And Scripture goes on and talks about, that the Lord is found in that. And so, I think, when you're trying to do the things that God wants you to do, you have to honor Him and you have to love people. And so it's both. It's not one or the other. It's both. And so I think you sharing that word of wisdom reminds me of the thought that I had this week about that.
Good.
So anyway, well, guys, I think that's all we got for you this week. We made it.
We did it.
You feel like you're feeling better about airing your grievances?
Well, I mean, I hope it would fix itself, but
Yeah.
I'm just talking to my listeners out there. I
All
quite
8
know
listeners.
all those women that didn't know how to drive in the car line, if they're not going to hear this. But
Well, maybe they are. Maybe they are part of the 8, and they'll do better, and y'all can rally together.
no, I just thought I'd share it.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Well, wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. If you made it this far, man, we genuinely do appreciate it. Man, I want to encourage you guys, stop by the Lots About Something podcast Instagram page, fresh and hot out the kitchen. And man, make sure you leave us a follow. You can leave us a comment. You can send us messages there and chat with us. It's a really good way to get in touch with us right there on the Instagram page. Also, wherever you listen, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, maybe you're even watching over on Spotify. If you can do that down at the bottom. Hey, if you're watching, we're waving at you. Hey guys, man, we'd love for you to hit the follow button and, make sure that we get part of your podcast schedule. So whenever we post a new podcast, when you hit the follow button, it automatically pops up. So whatever platform you're listening on, it'll automatically pop up in your podcast list whenever we post new episodes. So that's typically beginning of the week. So we'd love for you to do that. We would greatly appreciate it. All right. Well, guys, we love you. Thank you again for joining us. And, man, we look forward to seeing you next time. Until then.
See ya.
Bye, guys. Y'all have a great one.